In the previous video, as part of template-driven form learning, we handled form submission. In this video, we will see how to handle form submission when there are validation errors. In the browser, I have already entered some valid data in the sign-up form. I am submitting the form. The form data is displayed in the console in JSON format, which also means that we are making a backend call to store user details. Now I am clearing the name field content to introduce a validation error. After this validation error, I am submitting the form. In the console, we can see the JSON printed with name property value as empty string. Ideally, in this scenario, we should not make a backend call since name property has empty string. The backend call should be made only when there are no validation errors in none of the form fields. I will now implement necessary coding so that the backend call will be made only when the form is valid. In Visual Studio Code, let us look into the submit function. The backend call is made without checking if the form is valid or not. We already know that using valid property available in ngForm, it is possible to find out if a form is valid or not. Now the challenge is how can we get the access to ngForm object within the submit function. This can be achieved by passing signup form when calling the submit function in the ngSubmit event in app.component.html. Here, signup form is the template reference variable defined in the form tag, which is an object of ngForm directive. In app.component.ts, I am going to include signup form parameter with data type as ngForm in the submit function. Within the function, I am going to enclose both the lines within an if condition. In this condition, I am going to check if the signup form is valid. Only if it is valid, the console log will print the JSON and the backend call will be made. I am saving both the files. Let us check it in the browser. I am going to directly click the submit button. The validation error messages are displayed, but JSON is not printed in the console, which means that the backend call is not made. Let me enter some valid data into all the form fields and then submit the form. After submission, we can see the JSON data displayed, which means that the form submission happens only when all the fields are valid. Let me summarize the changes to be done. In app.component.html, include the signup form parameter in the submit function call. In app.component.ts, include the parameter with data type as ngForm and enclose the existing lines with a conditional statement that checks if the form is valid. After the changes, check if JSON string is displayed or not. Check for both the scenarios when the form is valid and when the form is not valid.